Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that is genuinely fascinating. We're taking a close look at the bank union's comprehensive charter of demands for the 13th Bipartite Settlement, or BPS. Now, at first glance, you might be thinking, okay, standard labor negotiations, right? But if you actually peel back the layers, it's so much more than that. This is a profound, incredibly detailed blueprint for how human workers are legally trying to survive and thrive in the age of AI. Because let's face it, artificial intelligence is completely transforming the banking sector right before our eyes. We're talking centralized systems, algorithmic lending, and heavy robotic process automation. It is fundamentally changing what it means to be a bank employee. And because of this massive shift, the source material frames this charter not just as your routine run-of-the-mill wage negotiation. No, this is a high-stakes battle to future-proof human livelihoods. It's really about answering one big question. Can human workers actually outsmart, or at the very least meaningfully coexist with, this unstoppable technological evolution? To make all this dense legal terminology a bit more digestible, we've broken the charter down into 6 core pillars. 1. AI and the banking workforce. 2. The digital dividend. 3. Restoring work-life balance. 4. Pension and tax reforms. 5. Rights for disabled employees. And finally, 6. Reforming management accountability. All right, let's jump right into pillar number 1, AI and the banking workforce. The core philosophical clash here is honestly pretty incredible to look at. On one side of the ring, you have the bank management's traditional push for what the document calls digital reengineering. This is exactly what you'd expect. A heavy focus on operational cost cuts, aggressive AI deployment, and, you guessed it, workforce reduction. But on the other side, the union delegates are countering with a blueprint they call human reengineering. They aren't saying no to tech, actually. Their argument is that while technological advancement is totally welcome, the financial gains from it can't just sit on corporate balance sheets. Those gains absolutely must be equitably distributed towards social security, workplace dignity, and mandatory reskilling for the human workforce that gets displaced. So how exactly do they propose pulling that off in the real world? Well, to combat digital displacement, the union is demanding a statutory right to practical reskilling pipeline. And this is a real game changer. They want a total end to those superficial online tick box compliance modules we all know too well. Instead, if a role gets automated, that employee triggers a 6-month fully paid upskilling leave. During this time, they have to undergo mandatory physical classroom training using highly realistic software sandboxes or simulators. Once that's done, they are redeployed into human-centric roles. Think advisory positions or relationship management, where empathy and actual human judgment are still, at least for now, irreplaceable. Moving on to pillar number 2, the digital dividend. Let's talk about the money. What is the proposed solution for the absolute mountain of financial savings generated by all this robotic process automation? The crucial number to remember here is 10%. The union is seeking a 10% AI cess, basically a digital dividend on all operational savings that come directly from automation. The logic behind this is actually super straightforward. If technology leads to less physical hiring, the regular employee contributions going into the pension fund are naturally going to dry up over time, right? By legally taking 10% of the cash saved by AI and routing it directly into the employee pension fund corpus, the charter aims to guarantee the long-term solvency of that fund. It totally offsets the drop in human contributions. It's basically a robot tax paying for human retirements. All right, Section 3, Restoring Work-Life Balance. This pillar steps away from the tuck for a moment to aggressively tackle mental health and personal boundaries. And the charter brings some serious historical weight to this specific demand. They directly invoke Dr. B.R. Ambayer's historical 1942 establishment of the 8-hour workday. The document points out that even way back under colonial rule, the fundamental right to health and rest was recognized without tacking on extra daily hours. Because of this, the unions are arguing that a pure 5-day banking week has to be implemented immediately. They are flatly rejecting previous management proposals that wanted employees to work an extra 40 to 45 minutes every single day just to make up for having Saturdays off. The argument is simple. Exhausted bankers are way more prone to making costly operational errors. Giving staff proper rest actually boosts overall efficiency. Furthermore, they are pushing hard for a codified right to disconnect. This would legally protect staff from having to reply to post-hour WhatsApp groups and stop unauthorized work-from-home system logins on the weekends. What's brilliant about how they frame this is that it's presented as a total win-win. Yes, it prevents clinical employee burnout from endless screen time, but it also legally insulates the bank's internal servers from off-hour external cybersecurity breaches. Let's look at Section 4, Pension and Tax Reforms. This part focuses on upgrading pensions using firmly established labor jurisprudence. A massive proposed remedy here is the 100% amalgamation of the so-called special allowance straight into core basic pay. See, previously, a really large chunk of an employee's pay was kept in a separate bucket and literally didn't count towards their retirement benefits at all. The unions want that completely merged to build a much more robust retirement base. Secondly, they are demanding an automatic pension upgradation system. The idea is to mirror the Reserve Bank of India, so pensions would automatically upgrade whenever active salary revisions happen, totally bypassing those notoriously long management delays. What gives these specific demands real teeth is that they aren't just wishful thinking. They're deeply grounded in law. Relying on Supreme Court precedents, specifically the IBA versus Harbin Singh Singla case, the charter argues that merging these allowances is an absolute legal necessity. They're also fighting hard against something called bracket creep. That's when silent inflation pushes your severance pay into a much higher tax bracket, completely eating away your hard-earned money. To counter this, they want to raise the voluntary retirement scheme tax-free threshold from a very outdated 5 lakhs up to 15 lakhs. They also want performance-linked incentives up to 1 lakh to be classified as completely tax-free, and they're aiming to bump up that tax-free gratuity ceiling to 35 lakhs. Okay, moving to Section 5, Rights for Disabled Employees. This is a deeply specialized and really important section of the document aimed at strictly enforcing the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act of 2016 for Divyangjan employees. These demands are rapid fire, but they are all about making sure true inclusivity isn't just left in the dust by modernization. They are seeking absolute 100% geographical protection, a strict no-transfer policy upon promotion. They want a massive 300% hike in tax-free special conveyance allowances. If an employee is forced into early retirement because their job is displaced by tech, the union wants a 10-year notional service weightage added to their record for their VRS calculations. Post-retirement, they are asking for an extra 25% disability assistance allowance. And crucially, they want 100% extra practical training time on all new software platforms, utilizing customized simulators with built-in voice-to-text and screen readers. Finally, that brings us to Section 6, Reforming Management Accountability. This part of the charter is designed from the ground up to completely overhaul corporate governance and curb toxic branch environments. The document explicitly points out that arbitrary, punitive transfers and malicious reporting by branch managers cause massive mental harassment for the staff. To fix this power imbalance, the unions are demanding a statutory, industry-wide reverse rating system, basically a 360-degree feedback loop. This would allow subordinate staff to completely anonymously evaluate their branch managers based on their administrative conduct and, notably, their leadership empathy. And here is the absolute kicker. Those anonymous scores wouldn't just go into a filing cabinet, they would directly impact the manager's own promotions and financial incentives. It's about enforcing true top-to-bottom accountability. So what does this all mean? As this explainer highlights, the 13th BPS Charter goes way beyond simple wage hikes. It is proposing a fundamental rewriting of the social contract between giant banks and their everyday employees. We are really left to wonder, will this comprehensive, legally grounded document successfully establish a brand new legal standard for how traditional human workforces negotiate their survival, their upskilling, and their absolute dignity in the face of unstoppable digital evolution? And honestly, perhaps the bigger question is, could this become the exact blueprint for your industry next? It is absolutely going to be a fascinating negotiation to watch unfold.